Hi, and welcome to Hardcover Feedback. I'm Brandi Smits.
And I'm Tracey Hill.
And today we will be reading A Visit from the Goon Squad by Jennifer Egan. Benny Salazar, an aging former punk rocker and record executive, and Sasha, the passionate, troubled young woman he employs, confront their pasts in this story about how rebellion ages, influence corrupts, habits turn to addictions, lifelong friendships fluctuate and turn, and how art and music have the power to redeem. A Visit from the Goon Squad is told through interrelated stories connecting one random person to another.
You were amazing on that guitar, he said. Then he asked, "Are you married?" "Divorced from Alice." "I know," he said. "I meant remarried." "It lasted 4 years." "I'm sorry, buddy." "All for the best," I said. Then I turned to look at Benny. He was standing with his back to the window, and I wondered if he ever bothered to look out, if having so much beauty at close range meant anything at all to him. "What about you?" I asked. "Married, 3-month-old son." He smiled then, a waffly, embarrassed smile at the thought of his baby boy, like he knew he didn't deserve that much. And behind Benny's smile, the fear was still there, that I'd tracked him down to snatch away these gifts life had shoveled upon him, wiped them out in a few emphatic seconds. This made me want to scream with laughter. "Hey, buddy, don't you get it? There's nothing you have that I don't have. It's all just X's and O's, and you can come by those a million different ways." But 2 thoughts distracted me as I stood there smelling Benny's fear. 1, I didn't have what Benny had. 2, he was right.
Okay. I liked the way the author constructed an interconnected web of players.
Mm-hmm. There was a bit of time traveling going on because we start at one stage of life with Benny and Sasha, and then it starts to cut around.
And then it just goes.
Yeah.
It's, okay, I'm not saying this is the quality of Kurt Vonnegut, but it's very similar to how he did Slaughterhouse-Five and jumped all over the place. Mm-hmm. But I am not saying that this book is anywhere close to the caliber of Kurt Vonnegut.
Disclaimer, this is not a sci-fi, and it's not trying to be.
And it's not amazing like that.
And there's no mention made of the transitions. They just happen in the book.
It's very, okay. This is probably one of the most character-driven books I have ever read in my entire life.
Wow.
Because there's no plot.
Well,
there's not.
But things happen, and it's a lifetime going, and there are lives going on.
But we're not like, okay, technically Benny and Sasha are like the main characters, okay? And every little vignette that we see relates to one of those 2 people or to somebody else that knew Benny or so.
Yeah.
So each little tiny story has its own plot. I will give you that. But there's no like purpose. Well, really. It's like we're learning, the purpose of this book is to learn about Benny and Sasha through the eyes of other people's experiences.
But also about the other people, like the one in the passage that I was reading. It was kind of uncommon to have a first-person narration in this book, but that was Scotty, who was a friend of Benny's back in the day when they were younger and they played in a band together. Right. And you know, Scotty's an interesting character, and then there's other people connected to both Benny and Sasha who may not be connected to each other. You know, they're kids. Any relationships that they have. No parents, I noticed. That was interesting. It's really more about friends and kids, it seems like. And the world changes, and we see by the bouncing around how the world was, and then we actually get to glimpse some place that's more future time than ours, not by much, but I noticed technology was updated here and there.
And you have the one daughter of somebody, I don't remember who. There's so many characters in this book. I cannot keep track of them. I'm very bad with character names, and this is immense. But there's the part at the end where like literally like 40 pages is a slideshow. Like it's not even text. It's like a slideshow of somebody's daughter explaining things. It's not Benny's daughter, is it?
No, it's Sasha's daughter.
Oh, it's Sasha's daughter. I knew it was one of the main two.
Yeah.
And that's really interesting.
That was, and part of the point was to want to know more about these people, and this book did something that so many other books cannot do. So many other books start at a finite point, and the story begins, and the story goes along, and then the story stops, and then you're done. You don't know what happens after that. Here, we actually get to see what happens to people.
Well, I guess that kind of goes with my point. I like the execution.
Okay.
I like the concept. But I wasn't floored by the content.
The characters?
Yeah, like I wasn't floored by the choices of what she chose to do with this. And I was really excited because I was like, ooh, musicians, ooh, this is gonna be awesome. Wow. And it was really, like, it fell flat. I don't know if it would have been different I don't know how it could have been different, but I don't know.
They are not, it's odd because we meet both of the main characters, Benny and Sasha, when they're a certain age and they're connected. Not kids anymore.
No, but they're connected too.
They are connected.
Like that's when they're together.
Right, and they're connected, but they're not kids then. And then we get to see them when they are kids, but then we get to see them after the point after which we meet them, and I really enjoyed that, and I loved being able to see one character from so many different other perspectives too. And they were also contributing. It's not like they were just walking around like the objects of other people's fascination. They were also filtering their perspectives of, this is getting messy.
No, I know exactly what you're saying.
You get to see these people from so many different angles, and through other people's angles, through the author's angles, through different points in time. Like, wow, that's neat.
And that's the part I like, but it's the content.
But again, the characters.
The characters.
Like, and they weren't so fascinating. I liked them, and maybe it's just because the author and I have similar taste or something, and she struck a nerve with me with that these were likable people by and large, even though they had foibles, they screwed up, they were really mean sometimes, or even just bad, flat out bad, but you could still understand, if not empathize with them. Well,
like I've said a couple times, content blah, execution, all that stuff good. Okay. So I'm going to give it 2.5 stars, which I think is pretty generous because I really didn't enjoy the book too much, but I respect the book, so I'll give it 2.5 stars.
Okay, well, I enjoyed it a lot, and and it wasn't a life changer by any means, but it was a very satisfying read, probably because of the structure. If it had been told straight, not so much, but I give it 3, a healthy 3 stars. Thanks for joining us, and remember, you can get any of these books at your local library. We'll see you next time.
Bye. Bye.